The first sound Eva Marino made in 8 months was not a cry. It was a warning. "Lily, do not leave me." The words came softly from the little girl, standing beneath the crystal chandelier. Her pale fingers were wrapped around the hand of Lily Morgan as if letting go would cause the entire room to collapse. 12 wealthy women sat frozen around the longest dining table Lily had ever seen. They wore diamonds, silk, and the calm expressions of women who had never been denied anything important. Moments earlier, several of them had been laughing at the librarian who had entered the Marino mansion in a damp wool coat and simple black dress. Now no one laughed. At the head of the table, Sebastian Marino slowly rose. He was tall, broad-shouldered, and dressed entirely in black. The room seemed to shrink around him. Every guard along the walls straightened. Every guest lowered her eyes. Sebastian was not merely wealthy. He was the man powerful families whispered about before signing contracts. He controlled ports, hotels, private security companies, and businesses that had never appeared on any legal document. Men who betrayed him vanished. Men who challenged him were buried by their own allies. Yet the sight before him had stripped something from his expression that fear had never touched. His daughter had spoken. Eva had not spoken after the night her mother died. Doctors had examined her. Therapists had waited patiently. Relatives had tried gifts, promises, and pressure. Nothing had reached her. Now the little girl was holding the hand of a stranger. Lily felt every eye turn toward her. Her heart struck hard against her ribs. But she did not pull away from Eva. She lowered herself until she was at the level of the child. "I am here, sweetheart." And Eva pressed closer. Sebastian moved around the table. He did not hurry. He did not need to. Each controlled step carried the threat of a man who knew every door was guarded and every person in the room belonged to him until he decided otherwise. His gaze settled on Lily. "Who are you?" Lily stood slowly. "Lily Morgan. I work at the Hawthorne Public Library." One of the women released a quiet laugh. Her name was Valentina De Luca. Lily remembered her because she had been the first to call the arrival of a librarian embarrassing. Valentina wore a silver gown that seemed designed to reflect every light in the room. Her dark hair fell perfectly over one shoulder. "She came to return a book," Valentina said. Apparently, the servants now received guests in the main dining room. Sebastian did not look at her. His attention remained on Lily. "How do you know my daughter Lily?" Looked down at Eva. "She comes to the library with an older woman every Wednesday. I never knew her family name. She likes the room with the painted stars." The older woman was Eva Nanny, Teresa Bellini. Sebastian had chosen Teresa because she had served the Marino family for almost 30 years. He glanced toward the guards. "Where is Teresa?" A guard touched the communication device in his ear. "She is being brought from the eastern wing." Lily reached into the canvas bag hanging from her shoulder. Every guard in the room reached beneath his jacket. Sebastian stepped between Lily and Eva so quickly that Lily barely saw him move. His hand closed around her wrist. "Do not reach into that bag again." His voice was quiet. That made it more frightening. Lily looked at his fingers around her wrist, then into his eyes. "I came to return a book. Unless your guards are frightened of stories, you can release me." A dangerous silence moved through the room. No one spoke to Sebastian Marino that way. His grip remained firm, but his expression changed by a fraction. Surprise appeared and vanished behind cold control. He released her, slowly. Lily took the book from her bag. It was a faded green storybook called The Garden Behind the Moon. Eva had left it beneath a chair in the library reading room. Lily had found the Marino estate address written on a card inside the cover. Eva reached for it immediately. Sebastian examined the book before allowing his daughter to touch it. "Why did you bring it yourself?" The address was not connected to any telephone number, and the book seemed important to her. I thought returning it was the right thing to do. You drove across the city to return one book. Lily met his stare. Some children need to know that the things they love will come back. The words struck the room differently than Lily intended. Eva lowered her eyes. Sebastian went still. The wife of Sebastian had been dead for 8 months. Everyone in the room knew it. No one spoke of Elena Marino because the name carried grief, suspicion, and blood. Vittoria Marino finally rose from her chair. She was a silver-haired woman with a graceful face and eyes that measured people as if deciding their price. Vittoria had arranged the dinner. She had invited 12 daughters of powerful families so Sebastian could choose a new wife and secure a political alliance before an approaching war divided the city. Her smile toward Lily was elegant and merciless. You have returned the book. Eva is clearly emotional. One of the guards will escort you out. Eva tightened her grip. No. The second word was louder. Several women gasped. Sebastian looked at his daughter as though the floor had shifted beneath him. Eva stared at Vittoria. She stays. Vittoria lost her smile for less than a second. Sebastian noticed. So did Lily. Sebastian lowered himself in front of Eva. His voice remained controlled, but something raw moved beneath it. Eva, look at me. The little girl refused. He waited. When she finally raised her face, her eyes were filled with terror. Why do you want Miss Morgan to stay? Eva looked toward the 12 women. Then she turned toward Lily and pressed her face against the soft curve of her side. Sebastian saw the answer even before Eva whispered it. She is safe. The word changed everything. Sebastian stood. Lock the gates. Steel barriers began closing across every entrance to the Marino estate. The guards moved at once. Doors were secured. Telephones were collected. The women at the table began protesting. But one look from Sebastian silenced them. Lily felt Eva trembling beside her. She turned toward Sebastian. You are frightening her. His eyes hardened. Someone inside this house frightened her long before you arrived. Vittoria stepped forward. Sebastian, this dinner involves families whose cooperation we need. You cannot hold their daughters here because Eva spoke to a librarian. I can hold anyone I choose. Valentina pushed back her chair. My father will consider this an insult. Sebastian finally looked at her. Your father considers breathing without permission an insult. He will survive another disappointment. A few guests lowered their faces to hide their reactions. Valentina did not. She stared at Lily with open hatred. Sebastian motioned to his security chief. Search every guest. Search every vehicle. No one leaves until I know why my daughter believes this woman is safe. Lily stepped in front of Eva. You cannot treat me like a prisoner. Sebastian looked down at her. You entered the most protected residence in the city. My daughter spoke after 8 months of silence. Either you are an extraordinary coincidence, or you are part of something designed to reach her. I am a librarian. That is exactly what a person with an ordinary cover would say. Lily felt anger rise through her fear. And ruthless mafia boss sounds like the excuse of a man who has forgotten how to say thank you. The guards avoided looking at one another. Sebastian studied her face. Lily had spent most of her life being underestimated. People saw her soft body, kind expression, and quiet occupation, then decided she would surrender before conflict began. Sebastian did not make that mistake. He saw that she was afraid. He also saw that fear had not controlled her. Take the guests to the west drawing room, he ordered. Miss Morgan and Eva are coming with me. I am not going anywhere with you. Eva clung harder to Lily. Sebastian lowered his voice. Then we will both stand here until my daughter collapses from exhaustion. Lily looked at the pale face of the child. She hated him for being right. Only until she is calm. Sebastian held out his hand toward the corridor. That depends on what we discover. He led them into a private part of the mansion, guarded by reinforced doors and silent men. The Marino estate did not feel like a home. It felt like a beautiful fortress built by someone who expected war at breakfast. Oil paintings covered the walls. Marble floors reflected golden lights. Every corner held wealth, but none of it offered warmth. Eva kept one hand in Lily's hand and the other around the green book. Sebastian walked several feet ahead. He never turned. Yet Lily had the strange feeling that he knew every breath she took. They entered a room filled with books. Unlike the formal library downstairs, this room was small and personal. Shelves covered 3 walls. A white reading chair stood near a window. Stars had been painted across the ceiling. Lily understood immediately. You made her a copy of the library room. Sebastian turned. Teresa described the place. It is not a copy. No. Lily studied the untouched shelves and perfect arrangement. It is what someone builds when he understands the shape of comfort, but not how to create it. His expression became cold. Be careful. I am being careful. Eva does not need a perfect room. She needs to know someone can sit inside it without waiting for her to become different. Sebastian looked at his daughter. Eva had already settled onto the rug. She opened the green book and tapped the space beside her. Lily sat. Sebastian remained standing. Lily began reading. Her voice was quiet and steady. The story followed a lonely girl who discovered a hidden garden beneath the moon. Lily did not perform. She did not ask Eva questions. She simply allowed the words to fill the silence. After several pages, Eva leaned against her. Sebastian watched from the shadows near the door. He told himself he was studying Lily for signs of deception. Instead, he noticed the patience in her hands. He noticed that she never forced Eva to look at her. He noticed how her body formed a warm shelter around the child. He remembered Elena sitting in the same way before death had emptied the room. Pain tightened inside his chest. He buried it where he buried everything else. Teresa arrived with 2 guards. She was crying before she crossed the doorway. Eva. The child did not move from Lily. Teresa pressed both hands to her mouth. She spoke. Sebastian questioned Teresa privately while Lily stayed with Eva. Teresa confirmed every detail. She had taken Eva to the Hawthorne Library under the name Eva Bell. Lily had never asked about wealth or family. She had offered the child a quiet place and read stories without demanding conversation. There was no visible connection between Lily Morgan and the Marino family. That should have reassured Sebastian. It did not. Coincidences had almost killed him more than once. He ordered a complete investigation into Lily's life. Within an hour, his men knew her apartment address, work history, debts, medical records, and the name of every person who had called her in the previous year. Lily Morgan was 30 years old. She had worked at Hawthorne Library for 6 years. She lived alone above a bakery. Her mother had died when Lily was 19. Her father had died in a highway accident 3 years later. No criminal history, no powerful relatives, no unexplained money. She was ordinary. Sebastian found that more suspicious than he should have. When he returned to the reading room, Eva was asleep with her head in Lily's lap. Lily looked up. May I take her to bed? She will wake if a guard touches her. Sebastian approached. He bent to lift his daughter. But Eva made a frightened sound and held Lily's dress. Lily placed one hand over her hair. It is all right. Your father is here. Eva opened her eyes. You come too, Lily looked at Sebastian. He gave one controlled nod. Together, they carried Eva to her bedroom. Sebastian held the child while Lily walked beside them, keeping one hand within reach. The sight would have appeared almost tender to anyone watching. It felt dangerous to both adults. In the bedroom, Lily pulled the blanket over Eva. Sebastian stood on the opposite side of the bed. Eva looked between them. Do not let the swan take me. Sebastian stopped breathing. Lily leaned closer. What swan? Sweetheart. Eva closed her eyes. Her silence returned. Sebastian stared at the green book on the bedside table. He opened the cover and searched every page. Near the final chapter, he found a drawing made in black pencil, a bird with curved wings, a black swan. His face became unreadable. Lily saw recognition in his eyes. You have seen that symbol before. Sebastian closed the book. You are staying tonight. That was not a request. Lily stepped away from the bed. You said I could leave after she was calm. I changed my decision. You cannot imprison me because of a drawing. That symbol belongs to an organization that should not know my daughter is alive. A cold sensation moved through Lily. Who are they? People who will kill you for standing beside her. Then hiding the truth from me makes me easier to kill. Sebastian moved closer. You think knowledge will protect you? No. I think ignorance protects you from answering questions. His gaze dropped briefly to her mouth, then rose again. You are either very brave or very careless. Lily felt the air tighten between them. I have spent years dealing with men who confuse intimidation with intelligence. I am not one of those men. No. Those men usually require several sentences before becoming unbearable. Something almost changed in his expression, not a smile. Sebastian Marino did not smile, but for 1 second. He looked less like a carved monument and more like a man, remembering how amusement felt. Then the moment vanished. You will be given a room beside Eva. 2 guards will remain outside. Tomorrow, you will be escorted to the library to collect anything you need. Anything I need for what Eva will not let you leave. Children survive disappointment. My daughter has survived enough. The words came too quickly. Lily heard the wound beneath them. Sebastian seemed to realize he had revealed it. His face closed again. You will stay for 1 week. I have a job. Your salary will be covered. I did not ask for money. Everyone asks for money eventually. Lily stepped closer, though every instinct warned her not to challenge a man like him. Then you have surrounded yourself with the wrong people. For the first time in years. Sebastian did not know what to say. The next morning, the story reached every newspaper in the city. A photographer had captured Lily entering the Marino estate. Another image showed the 12 heiresses arriving in luxury cars. The headline claimed that Sebastian Marino had rejected 12 society women for an unknown librarian. By 8 in the morning, reporters surrounded the Hawthorne Library. By 9, someone had painted an insult across the door of Lily's apartment. By 10, a brick shattered her bedroom window. Sebastian stood inside the damaged apartment while Lily packed a bag. 2 guards searched every room. Broken glass covered the floor. Cold air moved through the torn curtain. Lily picked up a photograph of her parents and placed it inside her bag. Your family dinner destroyed my life in 1 night. Sebastian examined the words painted across the wall. This was not done by a reporter. How can you know? Reporters want photographs. This was meant to frighten you. It worked. She said it honestly. Sebastian looked at her. Most people lied about fear in front of him. Lily did not. She fastened the bag. I am still going to work. No. The library has children arriving this afternoon. Someone attacked your home. Then your guards can stand near the history section and look threatening. You are not going. Lily turned. You do not own me. His voice lowered. Someone connected to my world has marked you. Until I remove that threat. Your freedom is no longer a private decision. Anger flashed across her face. That may be how you speak to your employees, your enemies, or the women waiting to marry your bank accounts. It is not how you will speak to me. Sebastian moved closer. The room seemed too small for him. You would prefer a gentle lie. I would prefer the truth. The truth is that I found 3 men watching this building before sunrise. One carried a photograph of you. Another had a weapon. The third swallowed poison before my men could question him. Lily became still. Sebastian reached into his coat and placed the photograph on the table. It showed Lily leaving the library 2 days earlier. A black swan had been drawn across her face. Her fingers went cold. Why would anyone care about me? Because Eva spoke to you. Lily stared at the image. Sebastian watched the fear move through her. Something violent rose inside him. He had seen fear on hundreds of faces. He had caused most of it. This was different. He wanted to find the person who had placed that expression in her eyes and remove every breath from his body. He stepped closer and lifted one hand. For a moment, his fingers almost touched Lily's cheek. He stopped before contact. The hesitation frightened her more than the threat. What are you doing? Making a decision. About what? How many people I am willing to kill over a librarian I met yesterday? Lily held his gaze. What did you decide? His hand lowered. Do not make me answer that yet. Sebastian took her to the library in a convoy of black vehicles. The arrival stopped traffic. Children watched through the windows as armed guards entered the building. Librarians stood frozen behind the front desk. The director hurried forward with a pale face. Lily ignored the spectacle and began arranging returned books. Sebastian followed her between the shelves. You are angry. You brought an army into a children's library. 4 men are not an army. There are 14 outside. His eyes narrowed. You counted them. I noticed things. That may be why Eva trusts you. Lily looked toward the reading room. Eva sat with Teresa beneath the painted stars. She held the green book against her chest and watched Lily carefully. Sebastian noticed the child relax each time Lily moved into view. He hated how much relief it gave him. A young man approached Lily carrying a stack of books. His name was Daniel Hayes. He worked in community programs and had known Lily for several years. He looked at Sebastian, then at the guards. Are you safe? Lily managed a tired smile. That depends on your definition. Daniel lowered his voice. You can stay with my sister. No one would look for you there. Sebastian appeared beside Lily before she could answer. Everyone would look there now. Daniel straightened. I was speaking to Lily. Sebastian looked at the hand of Daniel, resting near Lily's arm. Not anymore. Lily stepped between them. Daniel, I am protected. Please help the director keep the children calm. Daniel hesitated, then walked away. Lily faced Sebastian. Was that necessary? No. At least you admit it. I did not say I regretted it. There was something dark and possessive in his gaze. Lily hated the flutter it caused beneath her ribs. Before she could respond, the lights went out. A metallic sound came from the front entrance. Sebastian grabbed Lily and pulled her behind a shelf. Gunfire shattered the glass doors. Children screamed. Sebastian covered Lily with his body as bullets tore through books and wood. His coat surrounded her. One arm held her against his chest while the other drew a weapon. His heartbeat remained steady. Lily could smell smoke, paper, and the faint scent of cedar on his collar. Stay down. Eva was in the reading room. Lily tried to move. Sebastian tightened his arm. Eva, my men have her. Another bullet struck the shelf above them. Sebastian leaned out and fired twice. A man near the entrance fell. The violence was fast, controlled, and terrifying. Sebastian did not look angry. He looked precise. That frightened Lily more. A second attacker moved through the side corridor. Lily saw the reflection in the glass of a display case. Behind you, Sebastian turned and fired. The attacker collapsed before reaching them. Silence returned in broken pieces. Sebastian kept Lily beneath him until his security chief confirmed the building was clear. Then he touched her face, shoulders, and arms, searching for wounds. His control broke for the first time. Are you hurt? No. Look at me. I am looking at you. He held her face between both hands. His eyes moved over every inch of her. Are you hurt? Lily realized he was afraid. Not for himself. For here. I am not hurt. Eva ran from the reading room and threw herself into Lily's arms. Sebastian stood beside them with blood on his cuff that did not belong to him. Reporters gathered outside before the bodies were removed. Vittoria arrived 20 minutes later. She entered the library wearing a cream suit and an expression of maternal concern. Sebastian, this has gone far enough. The woman must be removed from Eva. Eva clung to Lily. Sebastian turned toward his aunt. Someone attacked a building full of children because you allowed an outsider into a private family matter. Lily heard the blame beneath the words. Sebastian did too. Vittoria continued. You need an alliance. Announce an engagement to Valentina before the De Luca family withdraws its support. Send Miss Morgan somewhere secure and end this public humiliation. Valentina appeared behind her. Surrounded by guards, even after gunfire. Her makeup remained perfect. She looked at Lily with disgust. This woman is not prepared for your world. Sebastian wiped blood from his hand with a white cloth. Neither were the men who entered this building. Valentina stepped closer. My family can help you find them. Your family could not find honesty inside an empty room. Her face tightened. Vittoria lowered her voice. Sebastian, think about Eva. I am. He turned toward the reporters beyond the broken doors. Then he did something that shocked every person inside the library. He took Lily's hand. She tried to pull away. His grip tightened. Trust me for 30 seconds. That may be the most unreasonable request you have made. I have made worse. He led her through the shattered entrance. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions about the dinner, the attack, and the unknown woman beside him. Sebastian stopped on the library steps. His black coat was torn. Blood marked his cuff. His hand remained around Lily's fingers. Miss Lily Morgan is under my personal protection. The crowd became louder. Sebastian continued. Any threat against her will be treated as a declaration of war against the Marino family. Lily looked at him in disbelief. A reporter shouted, Is she the woman you chose? Sebastian looked down at Lily. The pause lasted only a moment, but the city would replay it for weeks. She is the woman my daughter chose. Eva appeared between them and took Lily's other hand. The cameras captured all three. 12 Heiresses had entered the Marino estate, expecting one of them to become a bride. The city now saw an ordinary librarian standing beside the most feared man in the region. With his silent daughter holding her hand, Sebastian took Lily and Eva to a hidden safe house on the coast. The house stood above dark cliffs with reinforced windows and a private road guarded by Marino soldiers. Wind moved across the ocean. Waves struck the rocks below. Lily watched Sebastian assign men to every door. You turned me into a target, then announced to the world that I belong to you. I said you were under my protection. To men like you, those words mean the same thing. Sebastian faced her. You do not belong to me. The answer should have reassured her. Instead, something inside Lily felt strangely disappointed. He seemed to notice. His gaze lingered on her face. Not yet, he said. The words settled between them. Lily walked away before he could see how deeply they affected her. That night, Eva refused to sleep unless Lily stayed beside her. Sebastian stood in the doorway while Lily read from the green book. When the final page ended, Eva touched the drawing of the black swan. Mama was afraid of it. Sebastian entered the room. What did Mama say? Eva looked at him, then at Lily. Lily took her hand. You do not have to tell us everything at once. Eva swallowed. The lady wore it. What lady? The one in the mirror room. Sebastian's face became rigid. The Marino mansion had one room covered in antique mirrors. It belonged to Vittoria. Lily looked at him. Your aunt. Do not say that name in front of Eva. The sharpness in his voice made the child flinch. Lily stood. Do not speak to her like that. Sebastian stared at her. This is not a library lesson. No. This is a frightened child trying to trust her father. You know nothing about what I have done to protect her. Then tell me. His jaw tightened. Leave the room. No. The word came calmly. Sebastian moved close enough for Lily to feel the warmth of his body. Men had died for refusing him with less confidence. Lily remained still. Eva watched them both. Sebastian lowered his voice. Please. It was the first time Lily heard him use the word. She sat beside Eva again. I will be outside. When Lily entered the hallway, Sebastian was standing near the window with both hands against the frame. Moonlight cut across his face. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then Sebastian began. The official story says Elena died during an attack on our convoy. It is a lie. Lily waited. Someone entered our private wing during a family gathering. Elena was found in the greenhouse. The security recordings had been erased. Only family members knew the code. Eva saw something that night. Yes. You believe the killer stopped her from speaking. I believe she became silent because silence kept her alive. Lily felt cold. Why did you allow your family near her? Because I did not know which one of them was responsible. If I isolated Eva completely, the killer would know she had seen something. I let them believe she remembered nothing. The dinner was a trap. Sebastian turned. Partly. You invited 12 women to see who would react to Eva. Vittoria insisted on the dinner. I agreed because every family connected to the murder would be represented. And I walked into the middle of it. You were never supposed to appear. Lily laughed once without humor. That seems to be the central problem in your life. Women keep appearing with inconvenient choices. He approached her. Elena had been gathering evidence before she died. She believed someone was selling our shipping routes to the Black Swan organization. I never found the evidence. Lily remembered the book. You think it is connected to Eva's storybook? I think Elena hid something where Eva would protect it. Lily returned to the bedroom and gently lifted the book. She examined the spine, cover, and pages beneath the light. Near the binding, she noticed a thread that did not match the original stitching. Librarians repaired damaged books every week. Lily knew what belonged and what had been added. She used a small pair of scissors from a sewing kit. A thin brass key fell from the spine. Sebastian picked it up. A number had been engraved into the metal. 317. Lily recognized it. That is a library locker. Sebastian looked at her. Hawthorne Library has old research lockers in the basement. 317 is near the archive room. Why would Elena use a public library? Because no one in your world notices places that do not impress them. Sebastian stared at the key. Someone had tried to kill Lily inside that building. The attackers had not come because Eva spoke. They had come for the key. At dawn. Sebastian prepared to return to the city. Lily insisted on going. Absolutely not. I know the archive system. My men can open a locker. The key may not be enough. Some of the lockers contain catalog locks and preservation seals. Sebastian stepped close. You were nearly killed yesterday. So were several children. I will not hide while the people responsible remain free. He studied her. Why are you doing this for Eva? Only for Eva. The question carried more weight than it should have. Lily met his gaze. I have known you for 3 days. That was not an answer. It is the only answer you deserve. Something dark moved across his face. He lifted one hand and brushed a loose strand of hair away from her cheek. This time, he did not stop before touching her. The contact was gentle. His eyes were not. You should be more afraid of me. I am afraid of you. You do not act like it. I am also beginning to trust you. That frightens me more. His thumb rested near her cheek. For one suspended moment, Lily thought he would kiss her. Sebastian leaned closer. Then Eva called her name from the next room. He stepped away as if the sound had broken a chain around his throat. They returned to the library through an underground service entrance. The basement smelled of dust and old paper. Sebastian walked beside Lily while 6 guards secured the stairways. Locker 317 stood behind a row of metal cabinets. The brass key opened the first lock. Lily entered a date into the catalog panel. The birthday of Eva. The door clicked. Inside lay a leather ledger, a small recording device, and a sealed letter. Sebastian opened the letter first. The handwriting belonged to Elena. Sebastian, if you are reading this, I was not able to tell you the truth myself. His hand tightened around the page. Lily watched the color leave his face. Elena had discovered that Vittoria Marino controlled the Black Swan network through hidden companies. Vittoria had sold Marino routes, arranged attacks against allies, and planned to force Sebastian into marriage with Valentina De Luca. The alliance would place every port controlled by both families beneath Vittoria influence. Elena had intended to expose her. The letter ended with a warning. Do not trust the woman who taught you that love is weakness. Sebastian lowered the page. Vittoria had raised him after the murder of his parents. She had taught him strategy, discipline, and cruelty. She had helped build the empire he now controlled. She had also chosen every person allowed near him, including Elena. Lily stepped closer. I am sorry. He stared at the letter. Do not pity me. I do not. Then what is that expression? Grief for the boy who believed he was being protected. His eyes rose sharply. No one had spoken to him as though the child inside him still existed. Sebastian looked away. The recording device contained the voice of Elena. She described meetings, payments, and names. She also admitted that Vittoria knew she was being watched. Elena feared that Eva had seen Vittoria entering the greenhouse on the night of the murder. The final recording ended suddenly with the sound of a door opening. A woman's voice spoke from the distance. Elena, we need to discuss your loyalty. Vittoria. Sebastian crushed the device in his hand. Lily touched his wrist. Do not. He looked at her fingers against his skin. Do not what? Do not become the weapon she trained you to be. That is what she expects. His eyes darkened. She murdered my wife and terrorized my daughter. Then end her power. Do not let her choose what remains of your soul. He caught Lily's hand and pulled her closer. You think there is something left to save. Eva thinks there is. And you, Lily, could feel his breath. I have not decided. He leaned toward her. The kiss began with restraint. It lasted less than a heartbeat. Then every emotion Sebastian had denied broke through. His hand moved behind Lily's neck. His other arm closed around her waist. He kissed her with hunger, anger, and months of buried grief. Lily should have pushed him away. Instead, she gripped his coat and kissed him back. The danger of him surrounded her. His power, his violence, and his loneliness pressed into the moment. When he finally pulled away, his forehead rested against hers. This is a mistake, Lily whispered. Yes, you do not sound sorry. I have not been sorry about anything since you walked into my house. His communication device interrupted them. The Marino mansion had been attacked. Vittoria had vanished. 3 guards were dead. Valentina De Luca had publicly accused Lily of manipulating Eva and seducing Sebastian to control the Marino Empire. By the time they returned to the safe house, the city had divided into sides. Some believed Lily was an innocent librarian. Others believed she was a calculated outsider who had used a traumatized child to capture a powerful widower. Photographers surrounded her library, apartment, and every known address connected to her. Vittoria released private financial records showing that the Hawthorne Library had received an anonymous donation 1 month before Eva began visiting. The money had come from a Marino company. Lily confronted Sebastian in the safe house study. Did you send the donation? No. Did Elena? I do not know. The documents make it appear that someone paid the library to place me near Eva. Sebastian closed the file. That is what Vittoria wants people to believe. What do you believe? He hesitated. Lily saw it. You still suspect me. I suspect everyone. Even after the locker. Especially after the locker. You knew exactly where to look. Because I work there. You entered my home on the night every important family was present. You carried the key to evidence that could destroy my aunt. My daughter trusted you immediately. Pain moved through Lily. You searched my entire life. Yes. You found nothing. That does not mean nothing exists. She stepped back. The doubt in his eyes hurt more than the accusation of Valentina. Lily had known Sebastian only a few days. Yet he had placed himself over her during gunfire. He had kissed her as though restraint had become impossible. She had begun seeing the man beneath the violence. Now she saw the mafia boss again. Cold. Suspicious. Unreachable. You told me everyone asked for money eventually. You believed I would become like every other person around you. I cannot ignore the possibility. Then do not. Lily turned toward the door. Sebastian caught her arm. Where are you going? Away from you. That is not safe. Neither is staying beside a man who kisses me while deciding whether I am a liar. His grip loosened. Lily pulled away. You do not get to demand trust while offering none. Eva appeared in the doorway. Her face was pale. Lily stopped. Eva looked between them. Are you leaving because of me? Lily knelt immediately. Never because of you. Because of Papa. Sebastian went still. Lily could not lie. Your father and I are trying to understand something difficult. Eva looked at Sebastian. Mama cried when he did that. Lily frowned. When he did what? When Papa looked at her like she was an enemy. The words struck Sebastian harder than any weapon. Eva took Lily's hand. Do not leave. Lily closed her eyes. She could not abandon the child. Sebastian spoke quietly. Stay until this is over. After that, I will never prevent you from leaving. Lily stood. I will stay for Eva, he nodded. The distance in his face returned. But she saw the pain before it disappeared. For 3 days. They lived inside the safe house like strangers sharing a wound. Lily spent mornings teaching Eva in the glass room overlooking the ocean. Each day, the child spoke more. Sebastian watched from doorways and security screens. He did not enter unless invited. At night, Lily sometimes found him standing outside her bedroom. He never knocked. He never crossed the threshold. She began to understand that distance was the only apology he knew how to offer. The assassination attempt came on the 4th night. The power failed shortly after midnight. Sebastian entered Lily's room before the emergency lights activated. Get dressed. What happened? The northern security team stopped responding. He handed her a coat. Where is Eva? With Teresa in the underground shelter. Gunfire erupted outside. Sebastian pulled Lily against the wall as glass exploded across the room. Black vehicles climbed the private road. The guards near the gate opened fire. But several attackers were already inside. Someone had given them the security codes. Sebastian led Lily through a hidden corridor. The passage was narrow and dark. His hand remained around hers. At the end, a guard stepped from the shadows. Sebastian raised his weapon. The man fired first. Sebastian turned his body and shielded Lily. The bullet struck his side. He fired once. The guard fell. Lily caught Sebastian before he reached the floor. Blood spread across his shirt. You are hurt. Keep moving. I am not leaving you. That was not a request. Neither is this. She placed his arm over her shoulders and helped him through the corridor. His body was heavy, but adrenaline gave her strength. They reached the shelter entrance. The steel door stood open. Teresa lay unconscious beside it. Eva was gone. Sebastian became terrifyingly calm. He pressed one hand to his wound and studied the room. A black swan had been painted across the wall. A telephone rang on the table. Sebastian answered. Victoria's voice filled the shelter. Bring the ledger and recording to St. Gabriel Church. Come alone, or Eva will join her mother. Lily saw something inside Sebastian fracture. He ended the call. I am going. You can barely stand. I can stand long enough. She wants the evidence. She wants Eva's silence. Lily looked at the black swan. She wants more than that. She wants you angry. She wants you walking into the church without thinking. Sebastian faced her. My daughter is there, and I am coming with you. No. Eva trusts me. Victoria knows that. She may speak to me before she speaks to you. I will not take you into that place. You already brought danger into every part of my life. Do not pretend you can suddenly protect me by making decisions alone. His eyes burned into hers. If anything happens to you, something has already happened to me. Lily stepped close. I fell in love with a man who does not know whether to hold me or investigate me. Sebastian stopped breathing. The confession hung between them. Lily had not meant to say it. There was no time to take it back. His hand rose to her face. He looked at her as though he had spent his entire life starving and she had placed something impossible before him. Say it again. No. Lily, bring Eva home. Then I will decide whether you deserve to hear it again. His forehead touched hers. For the first time since she met him, Sebastian closed his eyes. I do not deserve you. Probably not. I love you. The words came without hesitation. Lily stared at him. Sebastian Marino had denied fear, grief, and tenderness. He did not deny this. I love you, he repeated. I do not know how to make it gentle. I do not know how to make it safe. I only know that when I believed you might be part of this, I hated myself for doubting you before I hated the possibility of betrayal. His thumb brushed her cheek. When you leave a room, I count the seconds until you return. When another man looks at you, I imagine removing him from the city. When you hold Eva, I see a life I never believed I could keep. Lily swallowed. That sounds dangerously close to obsession. It passed obsession days ago. Despite the fear surrounding them, warmth moved through her. Bring her back. I will bring both of you back. They approached St. Gabriel Church before dawn. The abandoned building stood near the harbor. Fog covered the stone steps. Broken windows reflected the lights of black vehicles hidden along the surrounding streets. Sebastian had ignored the demand to come alone. His men entered through underground tunnels and ruined buildings beside the church. Sebastian walked through the front doors, carrying the leather ledger. Lily followed several steps behind him. Victoria stood near the altar. She wore black. Valentina stood beside her, holding a weapon. Eva sat on the altar steps with her hands tied. A guard stood behind her. The church was filled with black swan soldiers. Victoria smiled. You brought the librarian. Lily walked closer. Eva looked up. Lily. Her voice echoed through the church. Sebastian saw the bruises on the wrists of his daughter. Every man in the building felt the change in him. His voice remained calm. Release her. Victoria looked almost proud. I taught you better than to make demands without leverage. Sebastian lifted the ledger. This destroys you. It also destroys half the families supporting your empire. Then they should have chosen better alliances. Valentina aimed her weapon at Lily. Victoria glanced toward her. Not yet. Lily studied the room. She saw oil lanterns near the old wooden altar. She saw a side door behind the guard holding Eva. She saw movement in the upper balcony. The men of Sebastian were almost in position. Victoria descended the steps. You were meant to marry Valentina. Together. Your families would have controlled every harbor from Boston to New York. Instead, you risk everything for a woman who shelves books. Sebastian looked at Lily. She does more than that. Lily almost smiled. Vittoria stopped before Sebastian. Elena made the same mistake. She believed love gave her the right to question the future of this family. You killed her. I corrected her. Eva made a small sound. Sebastian moved forward. Several weapons rose. Vittoria held up one hand. You cannot frighten me. Sebastian, I created the man everyone fears. No. His voice became colder. You created a boy who believed cruelty was the price of survival. Lily showed me the difference between surviving and living. Vittoria's expression hardened. A librarian has made you sentimental. A librarian found the evidence you failed to bury. Lily understood the signal. She moved toward the nearest lantern. Valentina saw her. Stop. Lily froze. Valentina approached with the weapon aimed at her chest. All of this because a silent child held your hand. Do you truly believe he would choose a woman like you if his daughter had not spoken? Lily looked at Sebastian. His face held no hesitation. He answered for her. I would choose her in every room. With every woman watching. In every life I was given. Valentina turned toward him. That moment was enough. Lily grabbed the lantern and threw it toward the cloth draped behind the altar. Flames rose instantly. The church erupted into chaos. Sebastian drew his weapon. The men in the balcony fired at the Black Swan guards. Lily ran toward Eva. Valentina seized her hair and pulled her backward. The weapon struck the floor. Lily drove her elbow into the body of Valentina and broke free. The guard behind Eva raised his gun. Sebastian fired from across the church. The guard fell. Vittoria shot Sebastian. The bullet struck near his shoulder and turned him sideways. Lily reached Eva and cut the ropes with a broken piece of metal from the altar rail. She pulled the child behind the stone steps. Valentina recovered her weapon. She aimed at Lily. Eva screamed. Papa Sebastian turned. He saw Valentina's finger tighten against the trigger. He fired first. Valentina collapsed. Vittoria ran toward the side corridor. Sebastian followed despite the blood covering his shirt. Lily shouted his name. He disappeared into the smoke. She held Eva beneath her coat as flames climbed the curtains. Armed men fought between the pews. Glass shattered. The old church filled with smoke and gunfire. Sebastian caught Vittoria near the ruined confessional. She held a blade against his wounded side. You will always be what I made you. He looked at the woman who had raised him. For years, he had believed she had saved him. Now he understood that she had only shaped his pain into a weapon for her own use. He took the blade from her hand and forced her to her knees. Vittoria louthed. Kill me. Prove that the librarian changed nothing. Sebastian looked through the smoke. He saw Lily carrying Eva toward the doors. Lily turned and searched for him. Even from across the burning church. Their eyes met. He saw fear in her face. Not fear of him. Fear of losing him. Sebastian lowered the weapon. You will live long enough to watch every empire you built become evidence against you. Vittoria's smile disappeared. Sebastian's security chief emerged from the smoke and placed restraints around her wrists. She screamed as they dragged her away. The roof began to collapse. Sebastian ran toward Lily. A burning beam fell between them. Lily covered Eva and turned away from the heat. Sebastian climbed across the broken pews, lifted Eva with one arm, and pulled Lily against his body with the other. He carried them through the church doors as fire consumed the altar behind them. Outside, dawn broke above the harbor. Sebastian reached the stone steps and fell to one knee. Lily took Eva from him. Blood covered his shirt. His face had become pale. Stay with me. Sebastian looked at Lily. Did I bring her home? Eva wrapped both arms around his neck. You brought us home. His eyes closed. The next hours passed inside a private hospital owned by the Marino family. Doctors removed 2 bullets. One had struck the shoulder. The other had passed through the side without damaging a major organ. Sebastian survived. Lily sat beside his bed, while Eva slept in a chair near the window. When Sebastian woke, he found Lily holding his hand. He studied her face. "You stayed." "I promised Eva." Only Eva Lily tried to pull her hand away. His fingers closed around hers. "You said something inside the shelter. You were losing blood. Your memory may be unreliable. My memory is excellent." He waited. Lily looked at the bandage across his shoulder. "You doubted me." "I did. You used me to draw Vittoria into the open. At first, you announced your protection without asking me. Yes, you are possessive, controlling, and almost impossible to reason with. I have been told worse." "I have not finished." Sebastian became silent. Lily leaned closer. "You listened when it mattered. You chose Eva over revenge. You walked into a burning church for us. I would walk into worse." "I know." She touched his face. "That is what frightens me." Sebastian turned his lips against her palm. "I will spend the rest of my life learning how not to frighten you. That may take the rest of your life. Then stay for all of it." His eyes held no command, only hope. Lily bent and kissed him. This kiss was different from the one in the library basement. There was no anger inside it. No suspicion. No need to prove control. There was still danger. Sebastian would never become harmless. But for the first time, his strength did not feel like a locked door. It felt like shelter. Vittoria Marino was imprisoned inside a private fortified residence while evidence from the ledger dismantled the Black Swan network. The De Luca family lost control of its ports. Valentina survived her wound but disappeared from society beneath the protection of relatives who wanted distance from the scandal. The 12 Heiresses denied ever wanting to marry Sebastian. The city did not believe them. For several months, Lily refused to move permanently into the Marino estate. Sebastian purchased the building beside her apartment and filled it with security guards. Lily forced him to sell it. He placed guards inside the bakery instead. Lily made him remove half. Their relationship became a negotiation between independence and protection. Sebastian did not always win. He discovered that he liked this more than he should have. Eva returned to the Hawthorne Library every Wednesday. She spoke more each week. Sometimes she became silent when frightened. But Lily never forced the words. Sebastian learned to sit beside her and wait. The first time Eva voluntarily told him about the night Elena died, he did not ask questions. He simply held her. Lily watched from the doorway as the most feared man in the city cried without hiding his face from his daughter. 1 year after the dinner of 12 heiresses, Sebastian invited the same families back to the Marino estate. This time, the mansion was filled with daylight. The long dining table had been removed. In its place stood shelves of books, soft chairs, and tables where children from libraries across the city could read. Lily had created the Elena Marino Children Foundation with one condition. Sebastian could provide funding, but Lily would control every program. He had agreed before she finished speaking. The 12 former candidates arrived with careful smiles and expensive gifts. None dared insult Lily. She stood near the windows wearing a deep green dress. The fabric followed her curves with elegant confidence. Her hair rested softly over her shoulders. Sebastian watched her from across the room. A senator was speaking to him about port regulations. Sebastian heard none of it. Lily laughed at something Eva said. His attention belonged completely to them. Daniel Hayes approached Lily with a group of librarians. Sebastian excused himself from the senator before Daniel finished crossing the room. Lily saw him coming. "Do not. I have not done anything." You are staring at Daniel as though you are choosing a place to bury him. Sebastian placed one hand around her waist. He stands too close. He is 3 feet away. Too close. Daniel smiled politely. Good evening, Sebastian. Sebastian looked at him. It was. Lily stepped on the shoe of Sebastian. Eva appeared beside them, carrying the green book. She looked up at Daniel. Papa is jealous. Daniel wisely walked away. Lily covered a smile. Sebastian looked at Eva. You were silent for 8 months. There are moments when I miss the peace. Eva laughed. The sound filled the room. Every conversation stopped. Sebastian looked at his daughter as though the laughter was the most precious thing he had ever heard. Eva handed him the green book. There was something inside the cover. Not a hidden key. A ring. Sebastian picked it up. Lily stared at Eva. Did you plan this? Eva nodded proudly. Sebastian lowered himself to one knee. The room became silent. Lily looked at the 12 Heiresses standing among the guests. A year earlier, they had come to be chosen. Now they watched the Mafia Boss kneel before the woman they had mocked. Sebastian held the ring between his fingers. I spent most of my life believing love was a weakness that allowed enemies to enter. Lily's eyes filled with tears. He continued. Then you entered my home carrying a book. You stood in front of my daughter when everyone else expected her to stand before them. You challenged me when every person in my world obeyed. You saw what I was and demanded that I become more. Lily glanced at Eva. The little girl was smiling. Sebastian looked only at Lily. I cannot promise you an ordinary life. I cannot promise that danger will never find us. I can promise that you will never face it alone. I will protect your freedom even when it drives me insane. I will listen when you tell me I am wrong, even when you are clearly mistaken. Lily laughed through her tears. That promise needs work. I had help writing it. Eva raised her hand. I wrote the good part. Sebastian continued. Lily Morgan, will you become my wife? The mother Eva already chose. And the only woman I will ever kneel before. Lily looked around the room. 12 Heiresses waited. Powerful families watched. Armed guards stood beneath the balconies. None of it mattered. She touched the face of the man before her. Yes. Sebastian placed the ring on her finger. Eva threw her arms around both of them. Applause filled the mansion. Sebastian stood and kissed Lily beneath the crystal chandelier, where his daughter had spoken her first words 1 year earlier. Their wedding took place inside the restored St. Gabriel Church. The burned roof had been replaced with glass. Sunlight poured across the white stone. The broken altar had become a library table where children could leave books for families who needed them. Sebastian waited at the front in a black suit. He did not look toward the guards, political allies, or powerful men filling the church. He watched Lily. She entered holding the hand of Eva. Her dress was simple, elegant, and shaped for the woman she was, rather than the woman society had once demanded she become. Eva walked beside her in green silk. When they reached the altar, Eva placed the hand of Lily into the hand of Sebastian. You can have her now. The guests laughed softly. Sebastian looked down at his daughter. Are you certain? Eva pretended to think. Only if you promise not to lock her inside the mansion. Lily raised one eyebrow. Sebastian Seahill. The gates will remain open. And no guards inside the library. 4 guards. 2. 3. Eva looked at Lily. He is still learning. Sebastian pulled them both closer. For the rest of my life. That evening, after the guests left, Lily found Sebastian inside the small reading room beneath the painted stars. He sat on the rug in his wedding suit. Eva slept against his chest. The green storybook rested beside them. Lily sat near him. Sebastian moved one arm around her and drew her against his side. For several minutes, they said nothing. Silence no longer felt like fear. It felt like peace. Lily rested her head against his shoulder. Do you ever think about that dinner? Every day, you invited 12 women because your family wanted you to choose a wife. I did not choose any of them. Eva chose for you. Sebastian looked down at the sleeping child. She has always been more intelligent than I am. Lily smiled. That is true. He turned toward her. I would have found you eventually. You had never visited a public library. I would have begun. You thought fiction was a waste of time. I have corrected many poor decisions. Lily touched the ring on her finger. And what would you have said if you found me shelving books? Sebastian considered the question. I would have asked whether you were married. You would have frightened me. I would have returned the next day. I would have ignored you. I would have purchased the building. Lily laughed. Sebastian kissed her forehead. Eva stirred between them and opened her eyes. Are you fighting? No. Lily said. Yes. Sebastian said. Eva closed her eyes again. Lily wins. Sebastian looked offended. You did not hear the argument. Lily always wins. The child returned to sleep. Sebastian stared down at her. Then looked at Lily. You trained her against me. She chose me before I understood what she was choosing. His expression softened. So did I. Outside. The gates of the Marino estate stood open. The city beyond them remained dangerous. Enemies still whispered the name of Sebastian Marino. Men still feared the calmness in his voice. His empire still carried shadows that love could not erase. But inside the room, beneath the painted stars, the Mafia Boss held his daughter and the woman who had taught them both how to speak after silence. Lily had entered the mansion to return a forgotten book. She had uncovered a murder, survived a war, and forced a ruthless man to confront the heart he believed no longer existed. 12 Heiresses had arrived, dressed to be chosen. Yet the most important choice had been made by a frightened little girl who walked past wealth, beauty, and power. She had taken the hand of an ordinary librarian. Then she had spoken. And with 5 quiet words, she had changed the future of the Marino family forever. Lily, do not leave me. Lily never did.